Welcome back to Super Mario Galaxy. Last time we completed the first galaxy in the secret dome, the garden, and that was Deep Dark Galaxy. And this time, as I said, I did I forget the name. This is not gonna be a good recording, I can tell. Oh god. I did Eeny Meeny Miny Mo, and I figured out exactly what galaxy I'll be doing this time. It's Melting Molten Galaxy. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, let's do the Sinking Lava Spire. This is actually a mission I do remember very well, and I love this galaxy. I shouldn't say love, actually. I just have a very strong relationship with this galaxy, and I've played it a lot for different reasons than I usually play levels a lot for, but this galaxy is actually a little bit difficult. Not really in the normal stars, I should say. I should preface it with that, but later on in some comets, like Daredevil comets, this galaxy can become a little bit tedious. And I've ended up playing this galaxy a lot because of that. And honestly, that doesn't actually deteriorate my love for this galaxy at all, because I still freaking love this galaxy and I remember it so much. And when I think Mario Galaxy and I think lava level, this is what comes to mind. It's not any of the lava levels I played before. It's not Freeze Flame Galaxy. When I think straight lava, I think this. So right here, the mechanics are what we've seen already. If you ground pound on that, great. See why I mean it's a little bit difficult, especially for a Daredevil comet? Some of this stuff just comes out of nowhere. But anyway, if you ground pounded on that, then it lowered that rock formation. Don't know how, don't know why, but whatever. Anyway, it gave me a place to wall jump, and it brought me up here. Something that's really cool. What you want to do is you want to not shake when you enter this launch star. Let yourself fall down. You might think, oh, I'm gonna die. But no, you won't die. If you ground pound on this, it'll actually start the eruption of the volcano. You don't need to do this, but I wanted to. I'm gonna get out of here really quickly, and as you can see, the volcano blows up. I think it's a really cool touch, and I think for being a special galaxy, which some people might not even notice, it's really cool. That right there's a secret star. It's a Hungry Luma. You should know this by now that I'm not going to end up doing those just for the sake of time. But whatever. If you want to try them out, go ahead. Those little lava, not lava, I guess I should say solar flares that are popping out of the mini suns right there, they actually do hurt you, so be a little bit careful there. I have 6 life, so I don't really have to worry about that, but just in case you kind of got hurt there in the lava and the volcano, there are actually a lot of areas here where you do have to shake before you fall, and that's a mechanic that hasn't been done very often up until this point in Galaxy, so I think it's pretty cool. Here's a little burn. I don't know, I forget what it's called all the time. I've already discussed how I really don't remember a lot of the names of the little freezes and little burns or whatever they're called. Again, that could be completely wrong, but I put the bio on screen a while ago, so you should have been able to see that. Right here is a little planet that's actually sitting on top of lava. What you have to do is you have to obviously grab all these little star chips while avoiding the little burns or whatever they're called. Really, it's not all that difficult. The only hard part is that the star chips can be relatively hard to see sometimes. And that honestly is what makes it difficult. That's about it. Avoiding the lava and the little things that shoot up hot air really isn't that hard, but finding these guys on this small planet takes a little bit of trial and error and running back and forth because they kind of blend with the lava, in my opinion. But I could just be blind. I don't know. And right here's the end game of this mission. Right here, you'll see a mechanic that is going to be used, or at least kind of foreshadows a mechanic that's going to be used very soon. As you can see, the things I step on that are a kind of darker shade actually do end up falling or moving to the side. This entire pillar, though, ends up breaking, and thus ends up sinking. You know the mechanic that I talked about a while ago in Freeze Flame Galaxy, where the water went up and down and the lava went up and down respectively? The same thing's happening here, except the lava ain't gonna go down. So if you mess up this platforming section, you're done. You actually do have to redo it. And I honestly am a really big fan of this. It makes everything just the slightest bit more difficult. Not extremely difficult or extremely more difficult. It's about the same as usual, but I think it's interesting enough and difficult enough that it gives a bit more challenge. And I think the difficulty progression in this game is actually really good if you do the special galaxy or the special dome. That right there was a little bit close. Sadly, it's not a main dome that needs to be done with a boss and everything, so that's relatively disappointing. And when I actually think about it even more, that means that the final boss before the final boss, so the pre-final boss, was a reskin of King Caliente. That was really easy, which makes me kind of sad, but what are you gonna do? That's the first mission down in Melty Molten Galaxy. Had to think there for a second. A Hungry Luma appeared in front of the garden. This is the Hungry Luma I don't like and will never be doing. You have to chase down rabbits, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not even thinking about doing it. I did not mean to click on Dreadnought Galaxy. The next mission in Melty Molten Galaxy is through the Meteor Storm. My cursor was having a few problems staying on that star, but it's fine. So as you can see, they're reusing the same area. It's a new area, but they are reusing the same area, but putting a pretty cool twist on it. There are now meteors falling. As you can see, the only way you can tell where they're actually going to land is through the shadows that the meteors project onto the ground. So you have to be a little bit careful. You have to actually watch your step. You can't just stand in the same spot forever because, well, a meteor will no doubt come down to you in no time. I believe that there's a fire flower somewhere around here. I might have to end up killing someone. No, there should be a fire flower around here because if I remember if I remember correctly, I do have to light these candles on fire, which will bring a launch star or a sling star, one of the two. That'll take me to the next area. Great. Oh my god, this is bad. Oh no, what I have to do is I actually have to drag this guy and actually drag him over to these things. There's no Fire Mario. This is actually a pretty cool idea. A mechanic that's not used enough, in my opinion. It's actually not very hard to actually manipulate him to do your bidding, but that sounds really weird. But, it's true, so, There's nothing up on top of you, if I remember correctly. All I really need is this one coin. There we go. It was getting a little bit dangerous there with all the meteors falling down. This area is not too hard. All you have to do is avoid the thwomps, because one hit and you're dead. That's just how thwomps are in this game, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but whatever. Meteors are falling down on very specific points right here. It's really not all that difficult to avoid them as long as you know where they're coming from, and it's really, again, not that difficult to figure out where they're coming from. You see them a million miles before, I think a million years is the better word there, a million years before they actually land, so it's not that hard. Right here is another planetoid with more star chips on it. Great. Fun. I should preface this by saying I don't hate the star chips. They actually do facilitate a relatively interesting idea, and it makes platforming necessary instead of like... And I don't want to say it makes platforming necessary. I shouldn't say that, because there are areas where platforming is necessary, but it makes it a lot more abundant in this game than I think it would be if they didn't actually add these sections. And it's a good way of making you progress in this game, and it makes sense, all things considered, but I think they use it way too much. I feel like they should have come up with a more interesting idea. And I understand that they gave different types of star chips with the blue star chips and all that other jazz, but I just I don't find it very interesting after you've been doing it for quite a few hours. So right here, this is not a very difficult platforming section. All you have to do is avoid all these guys, and really, again, not that hard. But what the real challenge of this area is taking a bullet bill, making it follow you, if I can catch up to this guy, yep, making it follow you, and not making him actually crash into the ground. Honestly, harder than it sounds. Bullet Bill's AI are really honestly kind of dumb, and especially with the planetoids the way they are, it's actually really difficult to get them to do exactly what you want them to. Luckily, it does make actually breaking the spherical objects, or the spherical glass cages, a little bit easier, but anyway, this is a mechanic I haven't seen in forever. Hey, my name is Billboard. Say, have we met somewhere before? A while ago, yeah. Anyway, you'll need to hop on that ball to get through here. Once you're on, hold your Wiimote. Tilt your Wiimote to move around, press A to jump. Try not to fall into any holes. I'll try not to. We are back with this god-awful ball. And I still hate it. And this area makes it even more infuriating because it's harder to control it. And oh god. The easiest way to honestly get through this area is going through this part first. Building up a bit of momentum. There we go. Got that down. Okay. The meteors don't hurt you, but they do bounce you. This area right here, you want to be pretty careful. The area is actually moving around. That means different holes are popping up at different times. But it shouldn't be too difficult. Oh my god, the luck. The luck. I usually do so terrible on that. So either the motion controls were on my side this time, so thank you Wiimote, but could have just been straight luck. But that is mission 2 down. Relatively difficult, I'm not gonna lie. Again, the difficulty ramps up, and oh my god. It doesn't get really, really hard, but it gets difficult enough where you're like holding your breath for a second. It's like, oh crap, please motion controls, don't mess up on me now. Anyway, there's only one more star to do in Multi-Molten Galaxy. Something I've noticed is the stars in this, in the garden actually take a little bit longer. And that might be why my lord, that might be why I ended up playing these a little bit more, or a lot more down the road, because I just found them more fun and more fulfilling to play through. Anyway, next mission is Fiery Dino Piranha. It's another reused boss fight. Luckily, this time it actually is more difficult than the King Caliente boss fight. They didn't just change a few very small things. They actually did change quite a few things that do make this boss much more difficult. This isn't King Caliente levels of difficult. It's much more difficult. I said difficult like 86 times there. Count how many times I said it. Don't actually do that. That'd be a waste of your time. Anyway, this area is kind of a little bit more difficult. If I die here, I'm going to be so mad. Okay, thank God. Just because the platforms are a little bit smaller, it's kind of harder to land on them. And if you mess up once, because Mario does, in fact, run around when his butt is on fire, guess what? It's very possible that you might get hurt like twice, like I did right there, but not be on a big enough platform to actually save yourself. You might be on one of the very small platforms that sinks in lava, and trust me, it's not fun to try to actually control Mario when he's on fire on platforms like that. It's really not a fun time. That area right there is not all that difficult. As long as you treat it as if it's a 2D platforming section, it's really not that bad. And this is, again, a reused area. I think that... What do I have to do here? Do I have to kill all these guys? I doubt it. Because that would be a massive pain. I might actually have to. Well, that kind of sucks. And though I guess it is the garden, a secret area that should be much harder than usual, so... It's understandable, but it really does suck. These guys, they're not terrible to kill, but if you don't run at them fast, then they do get kind of annoying. And you do have to lure them a little bit, so you do actually have to take their AI into consideration, and it's just kind of annoying. It's not hard by any means, but it's definitely, again, annoying. And there we go. This area I'm actually quite fond of. It's really, really cool because of the solar flares. Did I just... Oh, okay. I just walked off like an idiot. The solar flares are really cool, though, and it really does make a very interesting way of progression. I touched the very end of the solar flare. Okay, well, luckily I'm right where I was beforehand. Thank God, I don't have to cut. But, anyway, the point is the solar flares make an interesting way of progression because you do have to wait for them to actually move past, but the sphere, planetoid, I guess I should say, that you're on is actually moving, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to move past the flares, though it's still not that hard. This area right here isn't that difficult as long as you stay very close to a very specific platform. You shouldn't have too many problems. The bottom platform is usually the best chance to take with this, because if you use the bottom platform, you can easily get to other platforms. It's really not that hard. So don't struggle, or you shouldn't struggle too much with this, and don't worry too much about it. Let me see, can I get up there? Well, I can get on this one if it would, great. And I'm gonna lose my, this isn't it being hard. I'm gonna be honest, this isn't the level being hard, it's me being stupid. As stupid as all get out. There's a Hungry Loom up there, and I actually will use him, because I really, honestly don't need any star bits at this point. Something that I find really cool is that, finally, the Sling Stars are actually being used as a form of progression in a more interesting way. You actually have to use them to progress through the level itself, and not just from planetoid to planetoid, but on a planetoid you have to go to different parts of the planetoid using the, whatever it's called, using the Sling Star. I forgot the name for a second. Anyway, I'm just gonna buy a life mushroom real quick because I lost mine because I was an idiot. Now I'm feeling great, so here I go, transform! Oh, okay, thank you. I don't know why I said it like that, but okay. Anyway, let's finally get to this boss fight. So as you just saw, his tail was on fire for a second. This boss is not just a red version of the original PD Piranha that we fought. As you can see, his tail catches on fire, and as he drags it around, it goes from being on fire to not being on fire. Essentially, what you have to do is you have to avoid it when it's on fire. No duh, I know. And then you have to hit it when it's not on fire. It makes it just a bit more difficult because you actually do have to time it, and sometimes, as you just saw back there, when his tail's on fire and he drags it around, it actually makes the ground become on fire, and that is actually really an interesting concept because it makes it a bit more difficult. You actually do have to plan out exactly where you're gonna... Great. You actually do have to plan out exactly how you're going to deal with this guy, because you can actually get yourself in a corner right there, and it's not good. Like that. I got caught on fire from his tail, even though it wasn't on fire because it left a trail. So you do actually have to be relatively careful with this boss. I think it makes it really interesting and a lot more difficult. Especially when I was a kid, I had a lot of problems with this boss fight. Now it's not all that bad, but I still think it's an interesting concept, and I really wish they did something a lot more interesting with King Caliente, but they didn't, so, I'm gonna stop whining about King Caliente as a boss fight, but I just can't get over it, man. I can't. And with that, that is the end of Melty Molten Galaxy. Next time, on Super Mario Galaxy, I'll be not finishing up the garden, but I will be getting dang close by completing Dreadnought Galaxy, and then saving Matter Splatter Galaxy to an episode with something else which is quite important. But anyway, that's enough of Super Mario Galaxy, that's enough of me. Until next time.